We all have stories. Stories inspired by culture, competition, creativity. Stories show our humanity. They inspire us to greatness and remind us to be humble. Stories connect us to our communities and the rest of the world. We are the Chutta people, and these are our stories. See and share them at togetherwe'remore.com.
It's caught Hollywood! Lights, camera, action! Hollywood Brown! CeeDee Lamb still running! Into corner! CeeDee! For the TD!
People don't know what it is to be champions. Oklahoma invented it.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to Through the Keyhole. It's an Oklahoma football podcast and live stream, because that's what we do now. Nowadays, I've got to do my hair before we do a podcast because we want to be viewed by the people, especially the patrons. What's up, patrons? Welcome to the show. Of course, patrons get first dibs of our Tuesday shows because they're patrons on patreon.com/Through the Keyhole. They get to watch and listen and ask along all they want. So, go check it out if you would be interested in that. But of course, it's still a free audio podcast and a YouTube video. You just have to wait for us to finish the damn show. But you got three of the four horsemen tonight. We got Matt Burton in the house. Matt, this is where you say something.
Oh, I thought you were gonna ask me a question. Like, how am I doing? How's my day? Something like that. I was expecting some
how is it
pleasantries.
being a fan of a football school now, Mr. Duke Blue Devil?
Yeah, really good ACC champs. They can't ever take that away from us. Probably the first 5-loss conference champ in a power conference. So nothing wrong with that, to be honest with you.
Honestly, it's probably the second or third 5-loss ACC champion for all we know. It would not shock me. Alan Kenney, you told me he was getting cold in DC. So is it like the cool air off the sea, like at the coastline? What's going on?
It's a great question. I don't know what it is exactly, but it's not fun here right now. It's freezing. It's supposed to get up into the low 50s tomorrow, which would be nice.
Yuck. Not fun. And yes, Harry, thank you for listening and watching. I did see you on the Bedlam intro or on the video board at Paycom during OU-OSU's basketball game this previous Saturday. I was there covering it for Sooners on SI. It was a lot of fun. It was a great environment. I know people probably want OU-OSU and home, but if they don't, man, Paycom, that was fun. So that was a lot of fun. It was also a lot of fun to go cover a game in that arena as the first time I had done it since 2021 when I was covering the Thunder. So that was fun. But real quick, wanted to give a shout out to Home Field Apparel, the exclusive apparel sponsor of Through the Keyhole. Go check them out at homefieldapparel.com. Just a few more days until that big game on Friday. So if you want to look your best, go check them out, homefieldapparel.com. And of course, the Spirit Shop in Norman, where they can deliver your drinks of choice to your tailgates, to wherever you're going to be on Friday, whether you're around campus or at your house with a watch party. Go check out the Spirit Shop responsibly. And if you're not able to do so responsibly, again, they can deliver. So give them a call. Kaiser Performance Gym, thank you to them for their help with the show as well. The best gym in Norman, Oklahoma, in my humble opinion. And of course, like you saw at the top of the show, the Choctaw Nation, we thank them for being the title sponsor once again of Through the Keyhole. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Keyhole Pod, Facebook, YouTube, where you're watching this. Maybe if you're not watching this, why are you not watching our faces talk instead of just listening to us? Either way, we appreciate it. And then if you wouldn't mind, please leave a 5-star rating and review. I believe we are a handful away from 100 on Spotify. That would be awesome before the Alabama game. So if you've not done so, leave us a 5-star rating on Spotify. And, let's get up to 225 on Apple Podcasts, 5-star ratings and reviews. It helps the show out, and we would greatly, greatly appreciate it. But guys, the moment that we all predicted is finally among us. The time is nigh. OU is in the playoff, and they're playing Alabama in Norman on Friday. Alan, we've had two or three podcasts to talk about this.
Yeah.
I predicted 9-3, and I still cannot believe that we are podcasting about meaningful football this late, or I mean, not this late, this early in December. It's weird that these playoff games are still early in the calendar because OU, I think I saw someone say like this would be the earliest playoff / bowl game OU's ever played in other than the Sun Bowl against Texas Tech in 1993 or something like that. So again, it's meaningful football in December. And I was on the optimistic side in the offseason, and I still can't believe it.
Right. I mean, we're looking at it now, and I mean, the funny part about this too is compared to prior seasons when OU's made the playoff. I mean, there are more teams now, right? So, you're not necessarily getting a conference champ or what have you in the playoff, but there was a lot more kind of nervousness or nervous energy, at least on my part. And it's not you never want to say you're just happy to be there, especially for a program like Oklahoma. But I mean, you mentioned our kind of record predictions, and you were definitely on the more optimistic side. And, even that, I mean, with that in mind, it really does kind of feel like house money right now.
We're going to get to that point later in the show because I do want to talk about that whole factor of like, well, it's all cherry on top from this point. Well, you're playing at home. You're playing against a team you already beat. So we'll get there when we get there. Let's talk about all the nice stuff first. I mean, Matt, it's we talked about this on the radio yesterday. Like, is this the biggest home game in school history? Like the old heads would probably be like the game of the century or 1985 OU Nebraska. Like any one of those number 1 versus number 2 OU Nebraskas or top 5 Nebraska matchups. Texas Tech in 2008. Traditionally, maybe not the opponent because it's Texas Tech, but they were number 2 in the country. They had just beaten Texas, and that game was all about the stakes. What was at play? If OU wanted to get back into the national championship picture, they had to beat Texas Tech, and they did so emphatically. You can pick a handful of other great home games like OU Nebraska 2000, capped off Red October, and ultimately a national championship season. But like we've talked about dozens of times in the last handful of weeks, Matt, like this is a program that's had to play Miami in the Orange Bowl for a national championship, LSU in the Sugar Bowl for a national championship. They play Texas in the goddamn State Fair of Texas every year at a neutral site. It's just nice to know that, you get to play in the friendly confines of your own stadium for a gigantic game like this.
For once, right? For once, it can't hurt. No, I mean, like when you're talking about the record predictions, like, I mean, 8-4 was what I was at. Everyone but Brady. It just I can't believe that we're here, man. I even just talking about, there was like not a lull, but I mean, you have those moments in our radio show today. I had a moment where I was just like, man, like, you just think back, like what we were saying 1 year ago today from this team, like what was going on, what were we saying? And I don't remember verbatim, but I know it wasn't great what I was saying about this OU football program and the direction it was going. So to now be playing a college football playoff game, and like we said, I think the biggest biggest home game in OU history, because again, like if they win, if they beat Alabama, this doesn't mean they're automatically in the national title game. But
yes, it does, baby. Beating Indiana next.
Right, let's go. And then bring on Oregon or Texas Tech, whatever. That'd be good. But still, like you are in the dance, right? You are in the dance right now. It can directly lead to you making a run at a national title. So, with those stakes, I don't know if there have been bigger stakes for a home game in Norman. I can't think of one.
And Oklahoma does stake better than Alabama. Probably safe to say. Yeah. I mean, you're right. It's you're in the dance, but you feel very good about the path, and not necessarily like getting ahead to, like I was just joking about with Indiana. But again, it's a team that OU's already played. It's a team that they've played twice in the last calendar year, or I guess in the last year, 365 days. It's a team that they've beaten in those 2 games. They're very familiar with each other, and OU should be extremely confident on top of the fact that they're going to be able to play this game at Owen Field. So that's awesome. But let's get some of the game itself logistics out of the way. The availability report just dropped 20, 30 minutes ago for OU, like the biggest thing is our Mason Thomas isn't even on there. And the media, I wasn't able to go last night, but the media was allowed to go view a bit of practice, Alan, and our Mason Thomas, he looked like a dude that's like, yeah, he's playing and he looks normal. He looks like his badass self. Maybe at the very least, he's on a pitch count, but I think you're still going to get a healthy dose of our Mason Thomas. And I think this very minute factor that I have to remind myself, Alan, Jaden Jackson was a game time decision against Alabama, like right before kickoff. And it was like, what? He's not going to play? Oh no. And he only played like 10 or 11 snaps in the third and fourth quarter. I guess on like, we've got to have this down. So throw Jaden out there. But knowing that you're going to get our Mason Thomas back, Jake Michaela was on, like he was listed as questionable. Other than that, there's no surprises or like maybe this, maybe that with any other player. Like hopefully Michaela is going to be able to go. But I think between him and our Mason Thomas at practice, he looked the most, he's out there by himself for a reason. And I think George Stoya at Sooner Scoop already mentioned that he looked a tad bit skinnier, but that I guess that's to be expected when you're out with an infection. You know, you lose a lot of water weight, I can imagine, for a handful of days. Hopefully he's healthy just for his personal standpoint, and hopefully he's able to go against Alabama. But Alan, with our Mason Thomas coming back, with like guys like Jaden Jackson who've been playing banged up for the last month, having these weeks off. He talked to us yesterday at the OU's press conference availability yesterday. And then, of course, Xavier Robinson, Torrey Blaylock, those guys, and even John Mateer, like all these guys who have been banged up for the last month had these precious weeks off. Like it seems to be setting up for OU to be, they haven't been this right in the head, physically, mentally, with all this confidence since prior to the Texas game, before, you know, their world got rocked. So, I mean, they got their world rocked because John Mateer rushed back. Hopefully it's just a little bit more of a like, okay, we're getting this chance again, best foot forward.
Right. You know, looking at Jaden Jackson's snap counts, for example, last 3 games of the year, Alabama, Missouri, LSU, he played 12, 14, and 18 snaps. So to say he was, you know, kind of limping to the finish line would be an understatement. And you look at it, look, Michaela's status, if he's able to go, I'm kind of doubtful that he'll be particularly effective. But, you know, otherwise, you mentioned this will be as healthy as they've been in a while. And, you know, especially, well, it's important, the contributors on offense, right? John Mateer, Xavier Robinson, Torrey Blaylock. I mean, it's not just that these guys were banged up. It's that these were like integral parts of OU's offense, particularly in the running game, right? Like it's not just, oh, we're missing, you know, a depth piece here or there. No, I mean, those are big names for this offense. So that part of it, you've got to feel good about that part of it for OU.
I mean, absolutely. I mean, they were integral parts of the offense, and especially like once X got going, Ole Miss, I mean, he scored a touchdown against South Carolina. So basically post Texas, X had it going, and he was going at 4.5 yards a carry. That's great in this conference. And especially if you have a quarterback in John Mateer who's just struggling either physically or struggling mentally. If you have a running back that's able to get 4 or 5 yards a carry, man, the weight of the world is just off your shoulders, so much so. And that's something that OU didn't have against Alabama, because that's when Xavier Robinson got hurt, was early, like late first quarter, early second quarter. I can't remember, but he was just not effective whatsoever for the majority of that game. And the hope is that he's just on the healthier side. And if he is, and you get an offensive line that has more experience now that they've played this deep into the season together, and whether Michaela is able to go or not, I think we all were pleasantly surprised that Febechi Wiwu was able to play pretty well against a really good defensive line in LSU, having never played center in his life. Now that he has a few more weeks to prep for that, if he has to be the starting center, you still feel good about the depth with Foje and Derek Simmons on the right side. So, I mean, Matt, like, to me, much has already been made about like the visual of from yesterday's practice. Oh, John Mateer's not wearing the brace. And I do think that means something, because whenever we've talked to him after practice, he has the thing on. So it's not the case of he doesn't wear it to practice. He just wears it in game. So I do think that probably means something, whether it's physical or mental, who knows, but I think it does mean something. But I think the more important factor here would just be, can Torrey Blaylock or Xavier Robinson, or hell, both of them, are they near like as healthy as they could have, like as they were at different points in this season? Like South Carolina, essentially, can they be close to that level of health? If so, even though these are two great defenses, that is an advantage OU has over Alabama, even if Jan Miller is able to go for them.
Yeah, I think the big Mateer question for me is, can he stop falling down in practice? So that would be the big
Carson
Fields.
Getting dogged on Twitter.
Just getting dogged, man.
Why are you showing this to he's going through so much?
Everyone's gonna make fun of him. What are you doing?
I did.
Have you thought about how much he'll get made fun of?
When I saw it, I had the same thought I had when and thank God he didn't get hurt. I had the same thought when OU was playing TCU 2 years ago, and I know it, like, because I was at the game. I didn't know Brent Venables got caught under a pile of humans in the smoke. But during the game, I saw the clip on Twitter, and I was like, "Oh, if they lose this game, it's not going to go well." And I had that same thought with John Mateer falling down in Carson Fields, my buddy from Sooners on SI. In his clip of him tripping over a tackling dummy. It's like, oh, if we lose this game, that's not going to go well. But
good.
Hey, OU beat you in that game, so oh well.
Right. But as far as the running backs go, man, like I'm looking at the injury report right now, injury report, availability report, whatever they call it in college. It's the 2-minute timeout. Just remember that, guys. It's a 2-minute timeout in college.
Yawn.
Not the 2-minute warning. Javonte Barnes listed as probable in this one. I don't think that Javonte Barnes should play. I got to be real honest with you. I don't think he should play unless it's here. How about this? He should not take a handoff or catch the ball. Like, it should be like, hey, we need an extra blocker in here, and you're pretty good at that. So it needs to do that. I think it would be like, how would the fan base feel if things were to go wrong? If Javonte Barnes didn't play the entire year and then finally played in the playoff game, that would not be good. So
would you rather him or Ott, though?
Oh,
Jaden Ott.
Which one? Yeah, which one would you rather have take a handoff and then
Jaden
get
Ott.
A carry? Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
But ideally, Xavier Robinson and Torrey Blaylock can. I don't think Ott or Barnes should get carries in this one, to be honest with you.
This is DeMarco's time, man.
Yeah,
he's
DeMarco's
waiting.
time. He's his guy from Las Vegas. It's his Bishop Gorman buddy. I don't know if Javonte Barnes went to Bishop Gorman. I don't think he did, but he's from Las Vegas. No, I think it's whatever Xavier Robinson and Torrey Blaylock can give you. Honestly, I think that's kind of where they're at. I think they'll keep doing that. I don't see Javonte Barnes taking any handoffs, and if he does, I really, really hope that it goes well.
Yeah, I mean, if you find yourself in a situation where Torrey Blaylock and Xavier Robinson are not anywhere near healthy, like these weeks off haven't done much, and they start playing and they're like, oh, actually, I'm still like, I physically cannot be out here, but I'm going to because we have no other choice, then yeah, I would rather it be Javonte Barnes than Jaden Ott, because I understand. We've talked about Javonte Barnes already. I don't like it, but I understand the reality of his situation. And if Brent Venables says that he's in good standing with the team, then so be it. I don't know what the team thinks of Jaden Ott. Like, I honestly just do not know. So if gun to my head, like, who do you want? Like, I mean, Javonte Barnes, because at least he won't fumble, but he's not played in 2 months. So right. I mean, I don't know. So
at least Jaden Ott was a decoy for the Deion Sanders or Deion Burks. I almost said Deion Sanders. Deion Burks touchdown.
His plus minus, man, like that. Like, you can't.
The on-off numbers are incredible.
Well, did you see? Like what? When Benyama played 6-7 minutes in the first half against the Thunder when they beat them in the Cup game, and his plus minus was like plus 32 or something. It was something.
I remember looking at it at the end of the first half. The Thunder were up 3, and Wimby was a +20 in the first half. So I was like, this guy he's unreal, man. He's pretty good. But yeah, no, I say that really kind of in jest. It's more like a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation in my mind. If it comes down to Barnes or Ott, then you're kind of just like, well, it's just whatever you guys can give us, to be honest with you, if they're at that spot. But for me, it's Torrey Blaylock and it's Xavier Robinson. If whatever they can give you, I'm fine with that. You're just gonna have to find a way.
Yeah, Javante is out of Desert Pines High School. Shout out to our boy Raid with the funny DeMarco quote. Alan, like maybe I'm too bold with this because much has been made about OU was outgained by Alabama and the turnovers are fluky. We've talked about that a dozen times since that game. But maybe I'm bold in my proclamation on the show map that OU's the better team. They beat Alabama and now they have a chance to essentially prove that again in their own stadium. So I like the spot. I like the spot due to the fact that you're getting guys back that should on paper be healthier than they were against LSU or even before. So I like that thought, but the motivation factor, because Alabama is reaching for motivation, at least publicly, about they took pictures on our field, which is, I mean, to Alabama's credit,
on the logo.
To Alabama's credit, that doesn't happen a lot because Alabama doesn't lose at home a lot. OU doesn't lose at home a lot, but when they have lost at home, like I saw it against Ole Miss, players took pictures on the field because they beat Oklahoma in Norman. It's something worth celebrating. But I mean, Alan, like OU has been motivated for this game since like for the last month. Like, yeah, just keep winning and you're probably going to get in, but you don't deserve to be there and you're not worthy. And you're like the lowest odds to win a national championship out of all the Power 4 teams in the playoff. Your offense sucks. I mean, the big question is can that somewhat help OU translate it into a win?
Yeah, when it comes to motivation, I mean, that kind of stuff, I always kind of just, in one ear, out the other. I think that it probably doesn't help once the ball's snapped. Now, however, in terms of maybe locking in, focusing, that type of thing, yeah, I think that that could be to OU's advantage. But, I mean, I guess I also look at it and think, well, Alabama's got the revenge factor. I mean, who knows? But the dialogue nationally, around OU. I mean, if it's going to be one of those things, where you're looking for bulletin board material, there's plenty of it out there. Mainly I think more from the kind of punditry, maybe as opposed to other teams or something like that. But I guess looking at it, I can understand why. But the thing is that this, even if you say, okay, well, Alabama wasn't quite as good as we thought, or South Carolina wasn't quite as good as we thought, this was still a murderous schedule. And winning those games means something. And regardless of how you feel about Oklahoma's offense, the quality of team that the Sooners have, I mean, it's a team. I hate to say this, they're hard to kill. I know that's what they've been using, but I just, I mean, it really is kind of one of those situations where this team doesn't get beat easily. And that's a tough out, and in a playoff setting, that's tough, man.
My mom used to tell me that when you say that OU's hard to kill, many men gets its wings. So, good for that, Alan. I mean, no, you're absolutely right. This team is, I mean, they're good by virtue of the schedule that they navigated to the record of 10-2. I just had the weird rabbit hole tangent thought of why didn't Brent Venables just hire Ben Arbuckle last offseason as a 29-year-old? I mean, like, what was stopping him from doing that other than you have Jackson Arnold, blah, 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 blah. But I mean, yeah, there were some teams that were better than they were this year. Like Tennessee was a better team last year, especially defensively, than they were this year. South Carolina was a better team than they were last year than they were this year. But at the same time, as it has played out, it's clear that OU was just literally like what a lot of OU fans said in the offseason. They were just an average offense away from being 7-5, 8-4, 9-3 last year. Would they have gone 9-3 with an average offense? Probably not. But just having an identity, having a set, like a semblance of a game plan, of a scheme that you can rely upon means so much. And everybody is talented in this conference that it just really comes down to marginal things, which surprisingly, Alan, it's like the day I wrote the thing for Sooners on SI about how, hey, like Brent Venables is all about details. Look at all these games that they've lost because of like tiny little details here and there, like a funny mistake here, funny mistake here, and funny mistake here, and they lose these games. That got posted the day or 2 days before the Tennessee game. It has gone the complete opposite direction since then.
Right.
So maybe it was just all this time and all this built up pressure needed to happen for it to finally be realized. So, I mean, to me, it's just Brent Venables has it going right now. This team answers to him. They're all on a string. It's like a basketball term. It's just like everyone seems to know what they're supposed to be doing at all times. And if someone gets banged up, the next guy comes up and shows up. And you can say that even on offense. We already mentioned with Fetchy Wee sliding over to center and then them having to just have somebody perform running back duties on any particular play just because of injury. So they've made it happen. And while that's not the prettiest thing, Alan, in terms of aesthetics for teams and projecting like week to week, I'll be honest, like we followed OU when they've had an aesthetically more pleasing team. This is a much more fun team to follow just because you have the confidence that no matter what the game looks like, they can go out there and just kick your ass.
Yeah, I mean, the physicality part of it has been really fun this year as a fan, like, you know, getting that kind of that, you know, bloodlust part of it, right? Because I mean, for so long, OU was such a soft team. And so, I mean, I've had a ton of fun watching this team. It's funny. I think I said it a couple weeks ago, but you know, I love watching good defensive football. Like all OU needs now is like, you know, 240-pound running back, and I feel awesome, right? You know, but you know, the one thing is that, you know, I mean, it's I don't necessarily enjoy it when I'm more excited to watch the defense than the offense. But for so long, that was OU's Achilles heel, right? And you knew going into a situation like this, man, like you were thinking, OU is going to need some turnovers here, mainly because you can't count on getting stops. I realize it's flipped on its head now, but I mean, you do feel like there's some fight to this team, you know?
And I'm glad you said that because like the real dumbed down way to talk about this is, you know, like you just said, it's flipped on its head. Well, it really isn't because the offense isn't good relative to OU standard. I think they're in the 50s SP plus. So like they're above average in relation to the entire sport. Dude, we would have killed for an SP plus 50 defense with Baker Mayfield and Kyler Murray. Like they win a national championship because that level of a defense forces a 3-and-out every once in a while or gets you to punt and gives the ball back to Baker Mayfield and Kyler Murray to have at least 1 or 2 extra possessions to go score a touchdown. So yeah, the offense isn't where we want it to be. And it's been an Achilles heel, but they've still shown an ability to make plays when they absolutely need to, whether or not it be like at the end of the game where it's more pronounced, like against LSU with the touchdown to Satania. But I mean, even plays that are kind of sprinkled in the middle of the game on drives that don't necessarily end up as a touchdown. I keep going back to, what was it, 3rd and 19 in Knoxville, and Mateer, who hadn't done anything on the ground, just finds a hole, 21-yard gain for a first down. I think it was the drive that Xavier Robinson fumbled, but plays like that and extending drives like that is so important when you are a defensive-minded team because your defense gets to have like, oh, fuck yeah, like they get confident, they get engaged into the game, and they don't feel like, oh, we've got to do the thing where we save the day again. Like that was the vibe of the Texas game, is we have to go save the day again, like we've had to for the last 2 years. Like plays like that are important. And this offense has shown like the ability, even though they've been lackluster to our standard, they've shown an ability to consistently do that, at least in terms of game to game, not consistently within these games, but from game to game, they can put it together.
Right. And I think like, obviously the offense, there's just like looking back, like, Brady, you and I are relatively the same age. Like, I mean, we grew up with some really good defenses, like whenever we were in like early 2000s, like you had some really good defenses. So we had kind of known that. But for people who are a little bit younger than us, probably never even saw OU with a good defense. like some people maybe listening to this right now have not known. They've heard the stories, right, about your Teddy Lamans, Rocky Kalmus, Roy Williams, all those guys, right? But they can go back and watch YouTube highlights, but it's not like living in the moment. Maybe like an Obo Okoronkwo, right? That's like their defensive stalwart, right? Like whenever they
Ronnie
were
Perkins,
up. Right? Exactly, Ronnie Perkins. Like those are their defensive guys, which is just very few and far between. But so I feel like maybe for some of the younger fans, it's an adjustment of like, okay, like scoring 55 every game. That was really cool. That was really fun. But I mean, this is sort of the give and take. I think the offense for this version of the Oklahoma Sooners, I think they've done a really good job at kind of leaning into what they need to do rather than trying to force what they want to do. Right. If that makes any sort of sense. Like, and whenever they don't do that, that's when all the turnovers keep happening. And then that's when it really screws you up. But what they've been good at doing, one, is obviously defense and getting turnovers, especially in the back half of the season, and setting them up for doing that. I believe OU is still 100% when they're in the red zone at getting points, either field goals or touchdowns. It's just getting into the red zone has been the problem. But whenever they get there, they've been able to come away with points, and that's why it was so weird. I think it was the Missouri game. Everyone's fully leaning into defense, field position, special teams, Tate Sandell, and offense. Just give us something whenever you can. That'd be great. And then Brent decides to go for it, I think, on a 4th and 2, I think, at around midfield, and doesn't get it. And it's like, man, like this is in the first quarter. I know it doesn't like absolutely kill you in that moment, but like, man, I think Missouri goes and scoring on that drive too. And you kind of put yourself behind the 8 ball. And it's like, man, you were just starting to really lean into what's been making you guys good and what's been, working for you. Have Grayson Miller try to pin him deep, right? And make an offense drive the length of the field on that defense. Like that's what you're in right now. That's the type of position you're in because the offense isn't as explosive as it has been in the past. But I think whenever they fully lean into, all right, play field position, offense, just get whatever you can, whenever you can, and let the defense go to work. Like, I mean, that's when they've been at their best, man. And obviously taking care of the football. That's the other thing, man. That's the big thing.
Absolutely. And I mean, the hope is that if they ask John Mateer to make some throws, that because I heard you and Tyler Neal talking about this on your show earlier today, Matt, about generally like the thought is, well, if John Mateer's throwing for like north of 250, well, that means he's probably turned the ball over once or twice. So the more that he's throwing, the more stats he's accumulating. It's probably counterbalanced by a turnover or two. I mean, hopefully not. Hopefully not. But again, like, you should be healthier with John Mateer himself. You should be healthier with your running backs, and that should help out the cause altogether. But Alan, kind of flipping it over in terms of the health conversation to Alabama, the availability report, which is a word I cannot say with my accent, obviously dropped, like I mentioned, with OU. I mean, Alabama, I don't know their roster well enough, Alan, to know, like, when I see a player that's out that, okay, that's their Gentry Williams. Like, he's just essentially not played all year. I know that LT Overton's a pretty good player and he's out for the game. Cuevas, their tight end, is questionable. I'm assuming he's going to play, but to what extent is he going to be able to we'll find out. But I think just generally, and especially with all the rumors and the hearsay about Ty Simpson just being like hurt, like able to play, but just like he's nowhere near. He's had his ass kicked from OU on, OU, Auburn, Georgia. It just seems like from a general standpoint, OU is in a spot where they're getting healthier and they feel confident, and Alabama is just banged up physically, mentally, emotionally, and they're just limping into this game. Like, is that the wrong impression? But I just can't help but feel that way.
Well, they held out, I think, something like 13 guys during the SEC championship, right? I mean, was a week and a half ago. So, I mean, if you look at from that standpoint, that's a lot, right? And in a short period of time to, expect all of those guys to come back, or a significant share of them, right? I mean, I would say that probably physically you're right in the sense of OU's probably in a little bit better shape because, and on top of that, they had the extra week, right?
Yeah.
So, all that being said, I think that Bama probably feels though, like, especially after the state of play when they were taking on Georgia in the SEC championship game, they probably feel a lot better, right? I mean, just time doing its thing. But I do feel like from a health standpoint, I think OU's in a more favorable spot.
Yeah. How would you guys feel if OU's playing in an SEC title game and they have the assumption that we can lose this game and we think we're still in the playoffs, and they hold out a bunch of guys? I don't like that. I really don't. Like, go win the fucking
depends.
game.
I think depends on who it is too.
Georgia,
I'm talking about who it is that you're holding out. Like if it's like John Mateer, then like, yeah, okay, I'd probably have a problem with that. Like, be like, okay, but I don't know. I feel like that's really, I just don't know. Like, cocky may not be the right word, way to go about it.
I just feel like you can't have it both ways, because I've seen Alabama fans say this on Twitter. Well, we held out X amount of players and they're going to be healthy. It's like, well, if it only took them 8 days to suddenly be healthy, they should have played in the fucking game 8 days prior and maybe you wouldn't have got your ass kicked. Like, yeah, that's a big risk. Just assuming that they won't punish us for playing an extra game in the SEC championship game. We'll still be in the playoff.
Yeah, I mean, if that is the case, right? Like, why even bother having it? Why not just send your regards to Georgia and concede?
Yeah.
And, like, hey, congratulations, you're the SEC champs. Like, why put anybody out there in that case?
And then again, Alabama was really damn healthy when OU played them, and OU was relatively not healthy. John Mateer was still like ailing with the hand and the leg. He was not anywhere near where he's going to be like in this game. This is the game, like I mentioned, where Xavier Robinson got hurt, and when he got hurt, there was no Torrey Blaylock to save the day. He was just as banged up as Xavier Robinson ultimately became. And then, like I'd already mentioned, Jaden Jackson was a game time decision. He only played like 10 to 12 snaps, and our Mason Thomas didn't play at all. So it's a rematch, but one team does not look like themselves, and the other team honestly doesn't look like themselves either from the last time these two teams met. And that, like, the advantage is just squarely an OU side with this. So, I mean, Matt, it's weird to feel this confident considering how one-sided OU essentially is when they're playing against a good defense, and Alabama has a really good defense. Mm-hmm. But it's just the confidence level. I can't pretend like it's not there for me.
Yeah, no, I feel like OU is coming into this in a good spot. But I will say, like, let's not forget, OU did not play well against LSU like their last time out either. It was not a great showing. The defense played well. Like, this defense still played well as always, but offense struggled, man. They really struggled. And if remembering back to the OU Alabama game, Mateer was really lucky not to throw like 2 interceptions in that. I think one of them probably would have been housed for 6. So yeah, again, like, I mean, you do have to get some breaks, right? I mean, especially in a playoff game, all good breaks are welcome. Alabama's defense is still pretty darn good. And I don't know. I think that's what, for me, is kind of bringing me back down to earth of like, yeah, we're in for another like a 17-13 game or 17-16, like just a low scoring slog because I can't remember who I was listening to. It may have been Andy and Ari Washington on 3, but just like pointed out that basically OU was the first team to just start sending guys at Bama because everyone else up until that point had been scared of Jeremy Bernard and Ryan Williams, didn't want to get beat by those guys on the outside. And the OU was just the first team that was like, fuck it, we'll test it. Like, let's go. We're gonna send everybody here. And then since that game, everybody followed suit and started doing that to Alabama. And Ty Simpson's been struggling. And you know, if the rumors are true that he's kind of dealing with something, I mean, he's not on the injury report. He was obviously always going to play.
Brent's going to try to find out pretty early.
Brent's going to do that. Brent's going to do that shit again. Dude, he is bringing that again. So again, it's just I think it helps being at home. But again, you got 2 young corners again that are going to be asked to do a lot in Cortland Guillory and Eli Bowen, and maybe you throw in a Jacoby Johnson and Devon Jordan as well. But those corners are going to be asked to do a lot again. Like Brent kind of set out the playbook for these guys. Like everyone was scared of the receivers, and let's just let's see what the offensive line, running backs are made of. And you remember too, Jem Miller and the Hill kid did not have a great day in pass protection that day either. I mean, the Hill kid got lit up by 180-pound Devon Jordan. Devon Jordan got a sack. Yeah, so I don't know. I think the reality is Alabama is still an insanely talented roster. They still have the talent to go out and beat you. But I mean, I'd be lying if I didn't say that they're coming into this not on their best foot right now.
Yeah, and one notable injury that I can't remember if we mentioned it, but I mean, Josh Cuevas, I mean, I know he's on it says he's maybe potentially available, but I mean, he was Ty Simpson's go-to receiver against OU. I mean, that's where he was going when he was feeling the pressure, you know, I mean, so if he's not, I mean, he hasn't played since the Oklahoma game. If he's not anywhere near 100%, I think that's also an advantage to OU. You know,
1 catch in the second half, I believe, for Cuevas against OU. He did most of his damage in the first half, and it was a lot of damage.
It was a lot, yeah.
But OU, to be fair, like Bama did pull out some trickery. Like they had to kind of resort to some of that to get things rolling.
What they need to do. Like, I mean, they're an offensive-minded team. They want to do some gadgety stuff like that, but it did kind of seem like, oh shit, these guys mean business. We need to like, all right, throw it out, like just do something, regain momentum. Real quick, guys, did any player on OU side against Alabama, did anyone in your opinion like kind of play outside of their minds individually in that game? Because I keep trying to go down the list of like guys who made key plays. I can't think of one guy who was like, yeah, you can't rely on that again, because Satania is electric with the ball in his hands and punt return. And as you know, he had his longest rush of the year, that 21-yard reverse run. Kip Lewis looked like the Butkus Award winner that day. So individually, maybe the answer is him, but Kip Lewis is an amazing player.
If you had asked me up until that point, like, and we didn't see the rest of the games, I may have said Taylor Wine. But we've seen him the whole year and since that game do that. So I don't think it's him playing outside of himself or out of his mind.
Yeah, and you're just
him.
Yeah, and you're just getting our Mason Thomas and a healthier Jaden Jackson back. Yeah. So it is what it is. Real quick, how do we feel about John Mateer? I mean, Alan, like we've already said it, like if there's ever going to be a big improvement for John Mateer, that's not happening now. It's happening in the off season. And we'll talk about that for months in the off season. But these near 3 weeks off, like, do you think that this could translate into marginally better, marginally more efficient John Mateer than what we've seen the last month and a half?
Well, hopefully he and Ben Arbuckle have been able to sit down together, right, and talk about like What does he feel more comfortable with? You would hope that those conversations were already going on. However, in this case, you're hoping though that he's, they've been able to maybe refine those conversations even more and, come up with even scheme wise or, the menu of plays, stuff that he feels more comfortable with. The way that Mateer plays there, it's a lot of one-man gang stuff, and that can be good and bad. For a while there against LSU, it was really bad. But he could in a one game situation, maybe this is like his time. Like maybe this is the moment for him to really be able to do the whole put the team on his back thing.
Hopefully. I mean, I've been waiting for John Mateer to just be gone. I've been waiting for John Mateer to just give us like a glimpse of the guy that we saw in September. Just give us a little glimpse of that guy. And I kept expecting it to come by virtue of, okay, he's 2 weeks removed from surgery. Okay, he's 4 weeks removed from surgery. And that just never came. And hopefully now, like, they've been under a pressure cooker for the last month in terms of if you lose one more game, there are no playoffs. And I just want to believe that having that monkey off of his back, you're here, you're on the stage, your stat line goes back to 0. No one cares about 12 touchdowns, 10 interception stat line if you go and dominate as much as you can in a playoff game. Like, no one will care. So I want to believe that can happen. But, I mean, Matt, is that a fool's errand?
No, I don't think so. I think maybe he gets a little bit healthier and you see, some things clean up a little bit. I'll also say, like, the health of Xavier Robinson, Torrey Blaylock, obviously you want them healthy, but man, like we've all said, it's the playoff. If you lose, you don't get another game. John Mateer's run the football a lot. Like, John Mateer is going to run the football quite a bit. This is win or go home. You have to leave. There's no like, oh, we don't want him to take that many hits because of next week. No, there might not be a next week. So you have to go out on your shield, whatever you can do to go win a football game. So I would say that John Mateer might be in for another big day on the ground too. I say big day meaning carries big. I don't know if he'll have 100 yards on the ground, but this is you got to throw the kitchen sink game. This is the kitchen sink game for sure.
Yeah, no question. And Perry, your comment earlier about Jermichael Carter played out of his mind, or was it Tennessee? I mean, the Tennessee game was where he had like kind of the back-to-back, like big third down catches. He had a big catch against Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Giovanni Gibson also did as well. And Giovanni Gibson had that. Then he had his first touchdown of the year against Missouri. And then he had probably his best game overall against LSU. So he's certainly trending in the direction that we've okay, maybe there's like hints of the guy that we were sold in the offseason as like a true game-breaking type of talent at the wide receiver position. So, I mean, hopefully he's had it just like everybody else. He's had 2.5 weeks to get healthier and healthier. So hopefully that's the case. I will say too, Harry also said, then again, we OU, Auburn, and Georgia all had nothing to lose. If you lose now, you go home. That's true, but also I would say Alabama also has nothing to lose if we're playing that game too. Again, like I know DeBoer put out that statement about like I'm not talking to any other school, but man, that shit is just hard to to put out of your mind. Like whether you're DeBoer himself or you're the team, it's just the conversation surrounding the team, like Alabama. It just that physically what they're dealing with, the conversation that they're dealing with, like those teams do not perform well in the postseason. And that's just my silly fan understanding of how these things typically go. And usually that's, kind of pointed at OU's direction. That's like when OU kind of finds themselves in similar situations like this, they lose that bowl game or they don't really fare well in whatever postseason game that they're going to be playing in that particular year. So again, this is why they play the games, so they can make people like us look silly or like prophets. So we're going to find out in a few days. Let's put a bow on the Alabama talk because I do want to talk about Brent Venables big picture wise, gents. But let's get to the score predictions presented by the Spirit Shop of Norman. Alan, please tell me what the score is going to be on Friday night.
Yeah, I got OU 23-21.
Huh.
Repeat.
If Alabama outgains OU by 200 yards, will people's brains explode?
And imagine if OU goes +6 on turnovers after 2 games.
Would Bud Elliott, like his ultimate out would be like, well, they didn't play on a neutral field. They played at OU. So like if they played on a neutral field tomorrow, it's like, oh, okay.
No, I don't know.
Tuscaloosa, the moon, OU's better.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think I would hope that we could all agree OU cannot hope to win this game the same way this time that it won last time, but playing in Norman, a chance to kind of heal up all those that stuff. How could I go against the Sooners here? Give me OU, and I'll stick with 23-21 just to be fun.
I'm just like hard cut to late Friday evening and Chris Fowler, because Chris Fowler's on the call, right?
Mm.
OU wins 23-21 in exactly the same fashion that they did just over a month ago. Eli Bowen with a pick 6.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay, I guess. Well, Matt, why don't you bring the mood down for a second?
I will, and this is I got Bama.
You don't have to explain why.
Well, I'm going to. If there's any people that listen to Tyler and myself on the franchise, since the Tennessee game on, I made a pact. I picked against OU in Neyland Stadium, and some of the listeners were like, Matt, you cannot pick again. You cannot pick the OU Sooners again the rest of the season. So that's what I'm doing. Bama 21-20. Book it. Let's go.
Oh boy.
I'm just saying, like, it's worked out. I physically cannot pick OU. I want to absolve myself of any sort of blame for any of the superstitious people out there. I'm doing this for you. You're welcome.
I asked Payton on our Discord about an hour and a half ago what his prediction was, and he either is not wanting to share it just now or he's busy. So don't have Payton's score prediction. Guys, I love OU spot. I try to look at these games really hard. Like, okay, what if I'm a Texas A&M fan? Ugh. And I'm asked, like, what are your thoughts on the OU Alabama game? So as someone who's not emotionally invested in one team, I like the spot OU's in comparison to Alabama's. OU beat this team already, and they've heard nothing but for the last month about that victory that they had on the road in Tuscaloosa. So, and Alan, you're right in that, when teams talk about bulletin board material, that's for fans to kind of stress about. It's in one ear and out the other. But this team in particular seems to really thrive off of it in terms of negative energy. Let's try to make an advantage out of this in terms of our motivation. Like, they were motivated just by the fact that they made us their homecoming game. Okay. We're the University of Oklahoma. And they certainly played like it. So whatever works for this team, it has certainly worked. And they've had a lot more ammo for the last month. I like OU to kind of take the wounded animal that is Alabama and put them down behind the woodshed, 34-17. How many of those points are offensive? I mean, I don't know, but really it just matters that I think OU will solidly win this game.
Points.
Bold.
Galore.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's a handful of Tate Sandell field goals in there, right?
You got
which also, congratulations to Tate Sandell for bringing home OU's first Lou Groza Award. I wrote on the Tuesday post earlier today, as a kid, looking up all the awards and accolades OU's won over the program's history. Always thought it was weird that they didn't have a Lou Groza Award winner. And at the time, I understood that. I understand why they don't have a Blitnikoff Award winner, because they ran the wishbone for 30 years. And yeah, that makes sense to me, but no kicking award. That's weird. Yeah, it's just awesome that OU's crossed another major award off their checklist. And now I think, if I remember from the post, they just need the Remington Award. So for the best center in the country, The Doak Walker Award, which I'm still I'm mad about the Heisman in 2004. That should have been AD's. He should also won the Doak. He was the best player in the country. He's the best running back in the country.
Who won it over him in
Cedric
04?
fucking Benson.
Oh, give me a break. He was good, but give me a break.
Lifetime Achievement Award, and we feel bad for you. I mean, rest in peace, Cedric
Rest in
Benson.
peace, yeah.
Great player, great, all that. But I mean, at the time, like, my man, no. OU shut you guys out. You did nothing, and that 18-year-old monster had 225 against you. Like, please lose me. That's silly. And then, what was the other award?
When did the Doak Walker start?
1990.
Okay.
Like, so there's like the Paul Hornung Award. Like, I've got this. I've got this in my head. If the award existed at the very least, if it began when I was a child, then I count these awards as like, yeah, this is something that we should like strive to gain. The Paul Hornung Award has existed since the 2010s. And so to me, like, if I was able to drink and this award was born, then I don't really care about it. If OU wins one, yeah, that'd be great. But I'm a history nerd. It is
to be honest, like, I mean, if it were around, like, Billy Sims for sure has a Doak Walker Award. Like, if
I mean,
like,
that's why it's a big reason why OU doesn't have the Lou Groza. Lou Groza started in 1992. So Uwe von Schaman couldn't win one. Tim Lasher was a really good kicker whose name I remember from the 80s team. So like, I don't know if he would have won it anyway. The other award was the Ray Guy Award. I don't know how Tress Way wasn't a winner of that award, considering he's the greatest punter in football history. But yeah, oh well. Switching gears to a little bit of a macro state here, guys. Because like Alan, you had mentioned it at the top of the show in terms of like, yeah, everything's kind of like gravy from here in terms of none of us expected OU to be here. This was kind of this was definitely a rebuilding year. If you were trying to project with an optimistic view, this team was a year away from being a championship contender because of what they potentially have coming back next year. And the thought was, well, if John Mateer is really good, but doesn't knock it out of the park enough and you're able to get him to come back, like OU is going to be like projecting to be really good in 2026. And that was also coupled with the hope that OU schedule should get easier in the SEC in the third year of OU's SEC experience, but it is anything but that. You go to Georgia, you go to Florida, to Missouri. You got Ole Miss coming back. You've got South Carolina coming back. I mean, it's just another year in the SEC, so it's tough. But considering all that, OU was good this year. They just said, well, screw it. Let's just be good now. And they made the playoff. But at the same time, you're playing at home against a team you've already beaten. I don't really want to subscribe 100% to that fact or that thought that, well, if they lose, none of us expected them to be here. It's like, again, like it's another box Brent Venables needs to check is you need to win a postseason game. You need to seriously stamp yourself as like, this wasn't kind of a fluke. We didn't just catch lightning in a bottle. We like blah, blah, blah. Like, no. Like I have turned a corner as the head coach at the University of Oklahoma, and he can stamp it with a win over Alabama. And maybe I won't feel that way if OU does lose. Maybe I'll be a little bit upset. And then a few days later, I can kind of go like, okay, yeah, we didn't expect to be in the playoff. But at the same time, I feel like I'd feel more comfortable if OU beats Alabama and then they end up losing to Indiana because Indiana's the number one team in the country. That's when I'd be like, yeah, none of us expected us to be here, go this far. It's a great season and a great springboard into 2026. So, I mean, just as, you know, someone following OU and your thoughts on Brent Venables, I mean, what has this year done for you in terms of your opinion of him as the head coach of OU?
Well, I always looked at Venables as a guy who was trying to set really like a long-term course for the program in terms of just, you know, modernizing some stuff in terms of culture, all that kind of stuff. And I don't know, I feel like this year has been a testament to a lot of the hard work that he's done. I mean, we talk about, you know, this team winning kind of ugly or whatever. Well, I mean, they've won games specifically because they've been really good on defense and really good on special teams. And I want obviously a complete team. I'm not saying that that's not, the ultimate goal here, but there's a certain amount of validity, proof of concept, whatever you want to put to it, in terms of how he has fashioned this team, what kind of image he's built this team in. And that's how I felt watching this team this year. Yeah, sometimes they won in ways that weren't quite so sustainable, but it was a team though that, they had stuff that, you could hang your hat on. They had stuff that is going to be, in my opinion, durable for years to come. And so that's why I feel great about this season. I mean, to me, I don't think OU's in a position where they're going to win a national championship. Then again, I think there are maybe 2, maybe 3 teams that really are in that position this year. So, I mean, to me, again, it really is kind of gravy.
It's the interesting thing to me is just with how this team is kind of built. Because again, like we always go back to like the offense isn't anywhere near where we want it to be, and we all agree. But using the same analogy to like the Baker Mayfield, the Lincoln Riley teams was one-sided on the opposite end, with the offense being the leader and the defense just kind of like, whatever. There was no foundation for the defense to be great. It was just all of us hoping that on that particular Saturday they played well, like randomly. There was no foundation to. They have an identity on defense. Now they will recruit to it. They tried to do that with Grinch, and the identity that they tried to recruit to it sucked. And Alex Grinch, unfortunately, just isn't a very good defensive coach at all. With Ben Arbuckle and John Mateer, like there have been frustrations, but maybe Alan, maybe you'll disagree. I feel much better about the foundation of the weak side of this team than I ever did in the Mike Stoops, Alex Grinch era with those defenses. Like I feel much more confident that they have an identity. They just obviously need an offseason of improvement with John Mateer. Mm-hmm. You'll get more experience on the offensive line because they're not going to be kids anymore. You're upgrading at the running back position in terms of talent. Hopefully they upgrade in terms of talent at the wide receiver position, via the portal. And if that be the case, they will be a better offense. And we know what the defense is going to be capable of. And we've seen special teams become a strength. So there is a foundation for this team to be complete very quickly.
Yeah. And I think that's a good way to put it. The way I look at it too, I always felt like with Lincoln Riley in charge at OU, he was a brilliant offensive mind. He clearly had a knack with quarterbacks. Okay. But every year you were getting a different team. It was always a matter of what can Riley do with the parts, in front of him. And it feels now like Brent Venables is saying, here are the parts that I want to build a great program. Like, let's get these put in place. Let's have these kinds of things. Let's have a great defensive line. Let's have a good front seven. Let's control games that way. And I feel much more comfortable with that type of approach to the entire program than I do with, kind of a potluck style. What can we get out of the portal now? How can I fashion this together? What's, that type of thing. It just, that's the part of it I feel better about.
I mean, Matt, Brent Venables, like this is a guy that we all kind of understood, like, if it does not work in 2025, like, you will not be long for the head coaching world, unfortunately. And he's made it work. And not only has he made it work, he's kind of turned people like me into believers, like, in real time. So, I mean, are you on that boat? Are you in that boat as well? Or are you still like, you need to check this box? Because again, like you and I, we've been all right, this is the biggest game of your career, Brent. You got to check this box. You can't let this type of team or player beat you. And he's answered the call each time for the most part. It's just not the Texas game.
Yeah. I think that kind of similar to what Alan's saying it feels a lot more sustainable this iteration. Like, I mean, especially once, we've been in the Brent defensive system for 4 years and 4 years of Brent's defensive recruiting. And I mean, most of that was based off what he did at Clemson too. So, but now, like, as soon as these guys, like an R. Mason Thomas and all these guys are going to start getting drafted, like, you can start pointing to, no, this works at Oklahoma too. It wasn't just what we did at what we had going at Clemson. So that, and then I think, I mean, it's been proven however many times that if you have a good to elite defense, like, you can be in these games more often. Like, you can be in these games and also, like, not get blown out, right? Like OU hasn't really gotten blown out this season. Well, I mean, yeah, the Texas game, but special teams touchdown, all that good stuff, and 3 interceptions, that happens sometimes. But I mean, even the Ole Miss game, like, even watching, it's like, man, Ole Miss is just flat out outplaying Oklahoma, and even then you end up fumbling a punt, but it's going to bring you into good field position. You're only down 5. So, like, I think for me, I'm not sure. I guess, would that be a ceiling raiser, since you have, like, I mean, there's less. I think there's less room for error whenever you're building it defense first. It just in my opinion, and I think it's been proven. And we'll see what goes on Friday, but I feel a little bit more confident going into this game than I ever did in the other games, the other playoff games, if that makes sense. I think maybe 2017, the lone exception for that, just because that offense was, I mean, that whole entire offense basically is still playing in the NFL right now. So, like, I mean, yeah, just, like, that was just a special group on offense. But even then, I mean, you're going into that, you're going into those playoff games back then knowing that you are going to be by far the least physical team on the football field. So what can you do extra to combat that? You need 4, 5, 6 things to go your way, rather than going in now. It's like, oh, he's probably gonna be the most physical team, almost against anyone that they play. And I feel like that's when it's just like, okay, you're kind of minimizing your room for error, or maximizing, I guess, your room for error in that spot. I don't know if any of that made sense, but
no, it did. It did. It always makes sense, Matt. Payton did just swoop in with his score prediction. 16-13. The University of Oklahoma, 16-13. Okay, will our hearts be able to handle another low-scoring defensive affair like that, where one touchdown can ruin all of it for you?
Well, you're gonna have to. So your heart's gonna have to handle it.
Man, just again, give us like 08 Tech, where it's just like, it's our fucking night, man.
You might think about to win national championship this year, you'd have to play 4 of those probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but win the playoff game at home. Take care of business at home. Oh, you should be able to do that. College football wide, guys. This could be really quick. Do we want to talk about Sharon Moore?
I got to be honest. I was never fully convinced that Sharon Moore was a particularly stable individual after I saw him crying, talking about Jim Harbaugh that one time after the game. I'm not going to say I knew this was coming or whatever, but I don't know, man. He, like I said, he just didn't seem like the most stable individual.
Just episode 9,351 of Don't Sleep with Your Coworkers. Man, just don't do it. It's not worth it, especially a someone underneath you.
Yes, a subordinate. Yes.
Yeah, and the famous Nick Saban quote was going around of, don't have sex with someone that has less to lose than you do. That's really good. If he was going to cheat on Miss Terry, it was going to be with Hillary
Clinton. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There was like a 5-minute period where I was like ready to make jokes with this because all the details hadn't come out just yet at the time. And even then it was like, this kind of sucks because he didn't play that much, but he is a former Oklahoma Sooner. And, we love our former Oklahoma Sooners. At the end of the day, now it's just like, man, it's just sad when people throw their lives away. And like, he's not like, if he ends up going to jail, he won't go to jail forever, but he's relatively young. I don't know if he'll ever get a coaching gig ever again. And let alone like, the stuff, the personal stuff of like cheating on your wife and letting your family down like that in a very public way. Like again, I wanted to like make jokes because there was even one funny tweet when this all went down initially of like, hey, cheating on the field at Michigan's one thing. That's fine. Cheating off the field on your family. Now, no, that's not a Michigan man. But it sucks that human being's life is kind of just ruined for the time being. Hopefully he's able to bounce back in some way, shape, or form. And then Harry invokes the name of Art Briles. It could always be worse. Jerome Moore is not Art Briles. That is. Did Art Briles get a job?
He did.
I think so. What, like was it a small college or was it a high school or
I think it was like maybe NAI D3, somewhere in there. I don't know.
Well, if you're him, why would you even want that job at this point? Like,
he wants to prove a point.
Yeah. What a
Really?
God! What just
and maybe his son-in-law is like, at some point you need to get off my couch. Your daughter and I want to have a life of our own. Like, there's one former Sooner who I don't really give a crap about. I know you get to play them in Starkville next year. Hopefully OU kicks the ever-loving hell out of them. That would be lovely. First round, guys, got Miami and Texas A&M at Kyle Field, 11 a.m. Central Time, 12 p.m. your time, Alan. The next day after OU Alabama, they're the lone playoff game on Friday, so it's all OU that day. Miami at A&M, Tulane at Ole Miss, James Madison, who's winning Twitter right now, their Twitter account at Oregon. Anything about these matchups do anything for you? The easy answer would be Miami and Texas A&M. That's the most interesting game, and it's the first one we get to watch, and it just gets progressively worse from there. So, Alan, anything about this first round? Like, is Oregon a legit national title contender to you? Maybe Miami or A&M, maybe they are, or Ole Miss without Lane Kiffin. Like, what's this first round do for you?
Yeah, I'm obviously interested to see how Miami and A&M goes because that's two programs that everybody always seems to be like, they're here. This is their time to shine, and actually now this is their time. And ironically enough, they're playing against one another. So we'll get it. We'll see that now. I thought that A&M, they frequently skated by this year, and Miami. I don't trust Mario Cristobal farther than I could throw him, but at the same time, like the way that their team is set up, that could give A&M some problems. The other two, I can't envision a scenario where Oregon and Ole Miss don't win this each by multiple scores. And as far as where they're they're coming to a head, I think with Oregon, I look at them and think that that's a team that could, do some damage. I think I'd favor them against Texas Tech, and I think they'd have a pretty good shot in a rematch, ironically, with Indiana. So I'm going to be paying attention to how they play, how they look on Saturday.
What about you, Matt?
Yeah, I was going to say the same as Alan, man, with Oregon. I've a believer in Dante Moore. I didn't expect to say that before the season happened, but I'm a believer in that. And then, sorry, James Madison, thanks for coming out. Appreciate you. Glad that we got introduced to their Twitter game. So thank you for that. That's been great. Tulane, going to be awesome to see them wear their colors. Just an elite color combo and logo. So that's going to be awesome. But also, thanks for coming out. But yeah, Miami and A&M, man, I just I don't know why this famous last words, but I kind of like A&M in the spot, to be honest with you. Just at home, Kyle Field is going to be extra colty on that day. It's just going to be awesome, man. So it's gonna be a great atmosphere.
Many large wooden human effigies being burned.
Exactly.
Don't step on the grass. Don't make eye contact.
Yeah.
Women, like you can cheer, but this is the men. It's a cult thing. It's not my opinion. They're weird. They're just an odd bunch. Do we think that this is going to be another year where the teams getting the bye week are going to be at a disadvantage? Because, we kind of talked about, what if OU beats Alabama? How do you feel about them in Indiana? Well, Indiana's SP plus top 3 on offense and defense. They're an excellent team. I just keep going back to the fact that everybody's already had time off, Alan, but Indiana and Texas, or Indiana has to play the winner of OU Alabama. So if it's OU, they're going to be like, well, we went through the SEC, son, and we had to beat the University of Alabama twice. Who are you? With Alabama, they could do the same thing if they beat OU. We had to go to Norman and beat Oklahoma. Who are you? I don't really think the bye week with the bye week is the advantage that it's billed as on paper because of that.
Well, I'm not sure about that part. Last year, I think you had just kind of a unique set of circumstances with the teams that were given byes. One had to play the team that won everything in Ohio State. You had Georgia, who didn't have a quarterback. You had, the other two, Boise State and Arizona State, which were kind of gifted their spots in the field, right? Or in that scenario. So in this case, I feel like, especially for Ohio State, for Ohio State and Texas Tech right now, you're already game planning for Oregon and Ole Miss. You already know who it is that you've got coming up. You can't say the same, of course, with the team that's going to draw OU Alabama or Miami and Texas A&M, because those look like two very, very tight games. But I got to think that that's advantage for Ohio State and Texas Tech in that regard.
Do you think that I don't? It's not the case right now, obviously, and I don't think would be the case. Do you think that at some point there should be a reseeding, in the second, as the rounds go on, if Tulane were to upset Ole Miss and Indiana is going to be we have to play fucking Bama and Oklahoma as the 1 seed, and whoever would that be, the 3 seed, Georgia gets to play fucking Tulane. And they're the 3 seed. What the hell is this?
Yeah.
But I think that would take one of the 11 or 12 seeds winning first before.
Yeah, and how confident are we really in the seeding process at all? I know. Last year, right, Ohio State was the best team. I don't know. I felt clearly like Ohio State was the best team coming into the playoffs. So,
you say that, Alan, but Oregon beat them straight up, and then Ohio State looked awful against a bad Michigan team. And I know it's a rivalry game, but remember 2001? OU looked like one of the better teams in the country just because of their defense. And all they had to do was just beat bad Oklahoma State, and they lost. They got beat on their home field, and they looked bad in doing so. If the playoff format was alive back then, I would have been zero confident that team that just lost to that OSU team, they're not going far. Absolutely not.
Oh yeah, but let me put it to you like this: I put a significant wager on Ohio State last year going into the playoffs. So, I felt fairly confident they were the best team. So I guess that's the way I look at it. And they were the 8th seed.
Yeah. I remember last year looking preseason. I think it was plus 200 or maybe plus 180 if you took either Ohio State or Georgia against the field. Like that's how heavy of a favorite those two teams going into the year. Like,
and I mean, I guess Georgia's the other team I could see winning it this year. So.
Yeah, Georgia, honestly, Ole Miss. I think Ole Miss is really good. I just don't know how much they're going to be affected by not having Lane there anymore.
Yeah, part of it too, I think he was very instrumental just in getting the calls on the field, for their offense. And that part, not having him that's.
If Lane was still there, I'd probably say Ole Miss is going to win the national championship. I think they're the best team in the SEC. Therefore, I think they're the best team in the country. So that's the way I have to feel. Any final thoughts, gents?
Mm-hmm.
Sweetness.
Just, create the most toxic environment possible on Friday. That's it.
It's going to be a fun one. It's going to be weird that it's, Friday night. People are going to have to some people are going to work that day and then they're going to go to campus. It's going to be a different feel. Thankfully, the weather seems to be clearing up. It already has, at least today. And I think it's going to be kind of like it had been in Oklahoma City, Norman, like it was earlier today on Tuesday. So that's good. Got some friends flying in from abroad. I guess not technically abroad, but across the country, coming in for this game, kind of coming back home to Norman for this one. Cause home is calling and all hands on deck. So it's going to be a fun atmosphere, but
shameless plug to from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. I'm going to be doing pregame on the franchise there at the stage in between McCaslin Fieldhouse and the stadium, north side of the stadium. So come by and say what's up. If you're out there early, I'm sure Brady's going to be joining us on the stage as well. So
I will not be there.
Okay. Yeah. No. Well, I was going to reach out, Alan, but I figured, you'd probably make me pay for the flight. I don't have that kind of money right now. I can't do it.
Alan, when's the last time you watched a game in the stadium?
In Norman or an OU game in a stadium?
Norman.
Oh man. Wow. 2007, 6, something like that. Yeah. It's been a long time, man.
Well, they won the game then, right? If it was that era at home.
Yes, they did. Yes.
Okay.
They did. Yeah.
What would it take to get you to a home game now? What's it going to take?
Oh man!
If it's not a college football playoff, if it's not a college football playoff game, what is it?
Oh no, it's a very fair question. I thought about it and definitely had a few. I've had a few on the radar where things just didn't end up working out for me. The thing. I mean, to be fair, the games that OU's hosting now compared to 2 years ago, I mean, it's night and day.
You didn't want to go see OU Kansas.
I mean, I'm much more likely to get out there now. So I'm sure that I can. Well, I mean, God willing, I'm here again next year. Maybe I'll catch one then. How about that?
I just realized that I don't think any of us have ever met Alan in person. That's crazy. We see his face every week. And we've never.
I only know him chest up. Yes. I don't know if there's something else. I just know chest up, Alan.
And isn't that unfortunate for you?
What if Alan's actually 7 feet tall?
You don't have to lie, Alan. You've got a warrant out for your arrest in Cleveland County. That's why he's not back.
Yeah. Been banned from the state.
Well, everybody, apologies for going on a little bit later. I was on Pigskins and Pageantry, an SEC podcast, right before we started recording earlier. Go check them out. They do a great job. I'll probably reshare a lot of stuff of theirs over the next few days. Talked about OU and Alabama for 45 minutes to an hour on their show. So go check them out. But yeah, sorry we went on a little bit later. But thanks to the patrons who jumped on, had good comments, good questions during the show. We always have fun with that. If you're interested in joining the show live and seeing all the technical difficulties, if they do occur, and laughing as they occur, go check out patreon.com/through the keyhole, where you can be a part of the show if you would like to do so. But again, if you don't want to, no worries. It's still a free podcast, visually and audially. You just have to wait for us to finish recording. But yeah, good show, everyone. got big game on Friday. Very excited. I would imagine we will have no cap recap. I mean, do we want to put us on the docket for Saturday during the football games, or I think we should, because
we got to.
I think we should, because the later in the day it goes, like, we're not going to, those are games that you just have on mute. Like, seriously. Oh, well. Yeah. So, look forward to the no cap recap on Saturday. Hopefully it's pounding our chest to a Sooner victory, but the patrons will only get to listen to that one. So one more time, patreon.com/thekeyhole for our post-game thoughts in the podcast format. But for the absent Payton Guthrie, the present Matt Burton, Alan Kenney, myself, Brady Trantham, everybody, thank you so much for listening to Through the Keyhole. Until next time, boom her!
Sooner.